anxiously asked where his mother was, and the brother was too frightened to speak to come upon them. But by luck, the brother escaped, and by luck, the sister was knocked down by the shadow on the stairs, and the worst of all, the shadow quickly dragged her into the cellar beside it, and it was only by dragging her back that Byck had time to hide in the cupboard, but he could not escape. Bycock had time to hide in the cupboard, but what he didn't know was that the killers would be in the cellar. Jessie fell from the window, and, perplexed, went to the window to see what was there, and suddenly a crow struck the glass, and startled the woman, and then Jessie saw on the window a picture of a little bird on the glass, and while he was puzzled his father downstairs told him to go and take the luggage from what was causing the noise, but when she played the card, she realized that inside was an old toy car, which she cut it up and looked at it, but she didn't see anything out of the ordinary, so she had no choice but to throw it away. In the evening, his father came to his room, wanting to talk to him, but after all, he was contact information and hoped that he would reconsider it. Soon, the time had come, and in the evening, when I went to the washroom, I heard an unexplainable noise in my son's room, as if he was being teased by someone. I was puzzled by the sound of someone playing with him. Why is he playing so happily in the house? I opened the door of Jack's room, but there was no one in the room except my son. What made my father wonder how his son could have tumbled out of his crib at such a young age, and seeing that he was looking at the wall, I took a look when the fruits of the harvest were gathered, but that he could still be provided with 3 meals a day and a place to live. William, feeling that there was nowhere else to go, decided to make a show of it, and William joined in and made the whole family happy. The seeds of his unlimited shareholding with Roy were soon to blossom and bear fruit, but on that day, when the game was on, he accidentally touched his hand, and his daughter wanted to drive his father to the room, and seeing that he was still awake, Jessie asked him if he had seen anything, but he could not speak, and only kept looking around the house, and asked him if it was in the house, and very quickly he pointed to the side of the cellar, and the two of them went to the cellar. But Jessie searched all over. But just as they were about to leave, a dark shadow flashed. Horrible scene, Jessie rushed towards the door and ran out, intending to tell her him, and when he looked again, the person went quickly to the barn, and the figure went in behind the barn, and Jessie followed it, but as soon as he entered the door of the barn, it was closed by a large door, and he was struck by the darkness, and the darkness was gone. But no sooner had he entered than the door of the warehouse was unlocked and could not be opened. Suddenly, Jessie heard a movement in the corner of the warehouse and, sensing that something was amiss, he went over to it, when he saw a man crouching in a corner of the wall. Jessie thought it was a vagabond, so he tried to inquire what was the matter, but when the man turned his head he saw that it was a white-eyed young man, and that he was very frightful. Suddenly the young man attacked him, and the frightened Jessie, who was in a state of fear and was not in a state of shock and fear, was taken off his feet. Stand up. When his parents saw him, Jessie had already fainted, so they had no choice but to take him to the hospital. After the doctor's observation, he told them that the child might have committed happened in the house before, so he hadn't been able to get them to believe him, but that it was about 1 day a year ago that the mother went to the airport to pick up the father, but the mother arrived, and there was a man on the sidewalk. When she to go to the seed store first. Soon after Jessie arrived at the bulletin board, he thought that the woman in the pocket watch had appeared, who had been in his house since the beginning of the war, was in the middle of a fight. She kicks and smashes him. But the darkness of the underground room prevented William from finding the sideboards, and light immediately shone through. But just as he was about to find the two, Roy returned home, and seeing Leopardbeard lying on the floor, he thought that something had happened at home, and searched for his wife, and as soon as Auntie Roy had come to the underground room, her daughter heard her father's cries, but as Jessie was about to tell him the truth, William appeared behind her. But just as Jessie used his last breath to pull her back from the brink of death, and only then did they escape from death without any danger, and everything went back to normal. Parents and daughter established a better relationship, and the whole family lived a stable life on the farm. From that day onwards, my younger brother began to speak, and that was the end of the movie. Well, that's the end of today's story, too. If you're interested in this story, I'd like to share it with you. If you have any thoughts about this movie, please feel free to post them in the comments section. Finally, I'd like to ask you to give me a 3% vote. Your support is also my motivation to create this movie. So, thank you in advance, and we'll see you again next time.